Now is the time when we get to the effects part of After Effects. Effects are in essence additional settings you can apply to layers to help achieve a specific look or style. Let's jump right into our project and apply a few effects to visually spice things up a bit. Let's start by previewing our animation. Click once in the timeline area to make sure the timeline panel is active, then press the spacebar to begin playback. If we look at our project, you can see I have a background video layer, a green solid color wash, and then a logo on top of that. I'll press the spacebar to stop playback, and then press the home key on my keyboard to move the current time indicator back to frame 0. To start, I want the logo to pop off the background a bit, so to do that, I want to blur out the background over time. I want the background to start sharp and then get blurry. So let's select layer 3, which is our background video layer, and apply a blur effect. Go up to the menu bar under Effect, and then you'll notice all of the effects are grouped according to the kinds of effects. Since we want to apply a blur, let's go to Blur and Sharpen, then choose Fast Box Blur. Notice the Effect Controls panel popped up. If you need to see the project panel, you can just click on the double arrows here and go back to the project panel. Then if you want to bring Effect Controls back, just click on the words Effect Controls and that'll bring that panel forward. Since my current time indicator is on frame 0, let's add a keyframe for the blur radius set to 0. We can do that here in the Effect Controls panel just by clicking the stopwatch to the left of the words Blur Radius. Let's move 2 seconds down the timeline. Now I'm not sure exactly how blurry I want this to be, so I'll go back up to my Effect Controls panel and scrub on the Blur Radius parameter just by clicking and dragging to the right. I really like how this pops with the setting close to 50. Now I know you're thinking, well, where are my keyframes? I've been applying them and I don't see them in the timeline. To reveal any animated properties on a layer, just make sure that layer is selected and then press the U key, and that will show you the animated parameters. Click on the current time indicator and drag back and forth to preview what this is doing. And you'll notice now we've added a nice blur that happens over 2 seconds. As the background layer starts to blur at about 1 second in, this is when I want the logo to actually start to appear. Now to animate the logo, I want to use an effect called the Tyler effect. So I'm going to select layer 1, and since I know the name of the effect I'd like to apply, I'll go to the Effects and Presets panel here on the right side of the interface. Click once in the search field, and then type the word Tyler. The Distort filter CC Tyler pops up. I'll click on that filter and drag it and drop it right on top of my logo here in the composition panel. When I let go, it's going to take a second, and I know my effect has been applied. I know it's applied to the logo because it's listed up here in the top of the Effect Controls panel. Effects are also listed in the timeline. If we come to the middle section of the timeline, this area is called the Switches section. And whenever you see the letters FX, that's a switch that allows you to toggle the effect on or off for the individual layer. Now let's check out the CC Tyler effect and see if we can make this logo animation pop a little bit. On the Scale parameter in the Effect Controls panel, click and drag to the left to scrub that parameter down to a setting of 0. Scrubbing on the effect parameter gives you a good preview as to what you can achieve with that effect. So let's set our scale to a setting of 0 and click on the stopwatch to add a keyframe. Now let's move about 2 seconds down the timeline. I'll click down here in the timeline, and since I wasn't exactly on 1 second, I'll just highlight the numbers and I'll type +200. And when I press enter, notice it moved me exactly 2 seconds down the timeline. Now let's change the scale setting of our Tyler effect up to 100% and press enter. To preview our animation, we can actually go to the preview panel here and click the leftmost button to move the current time indicator back to the beginning of the timeline, and then press the play button to play things back. By applying effects, we've definitely spiced things up a bit. So if you know what effect you're going to apply, you can always search for the effect by name in the Effects and Presets panel. And if you're ever not quite sure what an effect might look like, go ahead and apply it to a layer and scrub in the Effect Controls panel to preview the effect.